Hi friends, this is Sarojin here. Welcome to my networking channel. Hope all are doing good and safe. And today let us discuss about OSPF point-to-point network. So this is an architecture where to the frame relay switch I connected three routers, and there are two virtual circuit, right? So this will form a single point-to-point link, and R1 to R3 this will form a single point-to-point link. There are two subnet 1.1 and 1.2. This will be considered as a one point-to-point link, and 2.1 to 2.2 this will be considered as a point-to-point link. Since the collection of point-to-point link, so there is no need for DR and BDR reduction. So it is, since it is a broadcast network, neighbors are determined automatically. So now let us go and configure the individual interfaces. So now let us go to the R1 and go to configuration mode. Let us now configure the 2 by 0, that is a 2 by 0 interface. Let us enable the frame relay. Interface serial 2 by 0 encapsulation frame relay exit. So it has two subnets, right? 1.1 and 2.1. So I have to create two sub interfaces. So let us create the first sub interface. Go to the configuration mode, interface serial 2 by 0.1, right? 2.1, 0.1 point-to-point network. Then specify the IP address 192.168.1.1, right? 1.1, and the mask is 55.55.55.0, followed by we have to specify the frame relay identifier interface DLCA. What is the DLCA mapping is 102, right? So 102. Similar way, I have to go to the configuration mode, go to the second sub interface, that is 0.1 is for 1.1, 0.2 is for 2.1. So 2 by 0.2, and let us make this IP address as 2.1, right? 2.1, that is the second subnet I'm going to configure. Then I have to specify the frame relay interface. DLC is 103, right? So it is 103. So I configured it. Similar way, now let us go to R2 and let us enable the encapsulation frame relay. Go to the configuration mode, router, to go to the interface serial 2 by 1. Let us enable the encapsulation frame relay. So then go to the configuration mode, interface serial to 1.2. Let us make it as 2 by 1.2 on sub interface 1.2 point to point, and let us give the IP address. IP address is 1.2, right? So 192.168.1.2 55.55.55.0, and the frame relay interface DLCA is 201, right? This is a 201 mapping. So now we have configured this. Similar way, go to R3 and configure. Go to R3, go to the configuration mode, go to interface. So this interface is serial 2 by 1, right? 2 by 1, and this is 2 by 2. So let us go to interface serial 2 by 2 encapsulation frame relay. I configure the encapsulation frame relay. Now let us go to the individual point-to-point interface. Interface serial 2 by 2.3 will make it as 2 by 2.3 point to point, and the IP address is 192.168.2.2, right? This is 2.2, 192.168.2.2, 55.55.55.0, and the frame relay interface DLCA is 301, right? So it is 301. So we are configured, done with the configuration. Then we'll go ahead and configure the routing protocol. So router OSPF 100, this is two subnets, right? I would define the two networks, 1.0 and 2.0. So network is 192.168.1.0 followed by the mask, wildcard mask, and the area 0. Similar way, let us configure for the second subnet. Okay, we are done with the configuration in OSPF for R1. Let us enable the routing protocol OSPF for R2. Router OSPF 100. So the network is 192.168.1.0, right? 192.168.1.0, and the mask is 1.0, and the wildcard mask is 255 area 0. Similar way, let us configure for R3. It is 1.0, right? Similar way, let us R3, it is having 2.0, right? Go to R3 configuration mode, router OSPF 100, and the network is 192.168.2.0, 0.0.255. Mask is area, mask is wildcard mask is 255, and the area is area 0. So now we are done with the configuration. So now let us check the neighbor relationship. Show IP OSPF neighbor. So it has two neighbor, that is 2.2 and 1.2, right? It has two neighbors it is showing. So these are the two individual point-to-point link. So let us go to R2 and check show IP OSPF neighbor. So it is showing the neighbor 2.1. Similarly, go to R3, show IP OSPF neighbor. It is showing 2.1 as a neighbor, right? So let us now check R1. So now R1 has successfully established a neighbor relation. It has two individual neighbors, that is 1.2 and 2.2, right? 1.2 and 2.2. So hub has two neighbors. So this is a collection of individual point-to-point link. That is the main purpose of OSPF point-to-point link. So let us check the frame relay. Show frame relay PVC. So the PVC is active for 102 and 103. Similarly, go to check R2. Show frame relay PVC. So the PVC status is active, right? So PVC status is active for 2 by 1.1.2, right? Similarly, go to R3 and check the show frame relay PVC. So it is active for 2 by 1.3. 2 by 2.3 it is active, right? PVC is active. So R1 has successfully established a neighbor relationship with R2 and R3. So since it is treated as a single point-to-point link between R1 and R2 and R1 and R3. So this is an example of OSPF point-to-point network over a frame relay. So now let us check the interface. Show IP OSPF interface. So you're able to see, right? This network is point-to-point and the hello interval is dead and the dead interval is 40, right? So this is how the neighbor relationship work on a point-to-point network or a frame relay network. It is always treated as a collection of point-to-point link, and the neighbor relationships are automatically determined. And since it is a broadcast network and is a collection of point-to-point link, there is no need for DR and BDR election. So this is a single virtual link and this is a single virtual point-to-point link, and each and every virtual link I assigned a DLC mapping, right? DLC identifier. There is 102 and this is 201. And DLC to IP mapping is done by frame relay inverse ERP. I hope you understood. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe me for more videos. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.